You're watching local coverage you can count on. This is WANE 15 News, first at 5.
Walking together in unity. That's the message demonstrators and city officials made in downtown Fort Wayne today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dirk Rowley. Tonight, Tara has the night off. Hundreds took part in that march downtown. WANE 15's Britt Soleil joins us live from downtown, where the march has taken place. Britt?
Yeah, Dirk, we're back here now at the Allen County Courthouse. Just got back after people who have been out here protesting the death of George Floyd and showing support for the Black Lives Matter movement actually marched to the Martin Luther King Jr. Bridge, along with our city officials. Mayor Tom Henry, a couple of our council people also showed up, as well as our local law enforcement, police officers, Chief Reed. Sheriff Gladio was here as well, and on that way they were talking to the protesters, having a conversation about what they've been doing and what can be done, and they told me the overall message was they were trying to show some unity here in our community.
We need to stand together. Yeah, our city's strong. Our city's strong. Together we're really strong.
The primary purpose of today is for all of us to be able to express the fact that we are a community. That even though we have differences, even though we have different ways of expressing the needs and desires of what we want as individuals, there's no reason we cannot work as one as far as making our community express itself in that way.
Now, as I said, we're back here at the courthouse. We're going to be here for a little bit longer, talking to some of the people here about if they feel like this was productive. And we'll have more coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. Live from the Allen County Courthouse, Britt Soleil, WANE 15 News.
Britt, thanks. Certainly the images today are vastly different from when those protests began. Earlier, we saw a conflict between police officers and protesters, especially Friday and Saturday, as demonstrators took their message into city streets and blocked traffic. 15 Finds Out investigator Angelica Robinson sat down with Police Chief Steve Reed to reflect on a week of historic demonstrations. It's an interview you'll see only on WANE 15.
The head of the Fort Wayne Police Department says he is in support of peaceful protests, but last weekend tensions were high. Hundreds of officers were deployed downtown and the department faced criticism over using pepper spray and tear gas on protesters. The weekend protests proved to be historic for the city of Fort Wayne and communities across the nation. Police Chief Steve Reed says about a dozen officers were on standby as they monitored the situation Friday.
The protest grew rather large, and then without warning, folks flooded the streets into traffic, stopping traffic.
About 100 officers were deployed as demonstrations took a turn for the worse. Tensions rose, leading to clashes with police, tear gas, broken storefront windows, and some injuries.
Had a few officers here Friday night after we learned that there was going to be a protest, and they weren't, they were just here. Never really had any issues. And then all of a sudden that night, we did.
Coming up at 6, hear more from Chief Reed about the escalation of tensions and what the department tried to do to stop that. Reporting in Fort Wayne, Angelica Robinson, WANE 15 News.
Elsewhere in the area, a group of Belmont High School students held a demonstration to show their support for the movement.
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot!
Protests started with a prayer circle just before 1:30. More than 80 demonstrators showed up at the Adams County Courthouse to end racism and police brutality. Organizers say they wanted to do their part to help the black community and wanted to participate in the community where they live.
I think that it's important as white people that we need to show our support and solidarity in this movement, because if it's only black people out there, it's going to seem like we're not supportive.
Very proud of these folks that are here that are willing to stand up for American truth, justice.
Protesters say they plan to stay at the courthouse until 6. A second group of protesters gathered in Auburn today. They started outside of the courthouse with signs reading Black Lives Matter and We Are United. That happened around 2 this afternoon. The flyer said, "Do not attend if you plan to start violence."
Let's still be heard. Let's not let fear, let's not let hate win. Let's go out and still get the message out, still be heard, be united, be peaceful, and show that it's not about rioting. It's not about looting. It's about something much bigger, which is unity and loving everybody and finding justice for the unjust.
The Auburn rally is set to wrap up tonight around 6. Now, as you saw earlier today on WANE 15, a memorial service took place in Minneapolis for George Floyd. The service follows a night of mostly peaceful protests around the country after new charges were brought against the former police officers connected to his death. CBS's Skylar Henry continues our coverage.
Amazing grace. Minneapolis took its first step towards healing as family, friends, and civil rights leaders paid tribute to George Floyd. The Reverend Al Sharpton eulogized Floyd, whose life was tragically cut short last week at the hands of police. Family members shared touching memories about the father of two.
All these people came to see my brother, and that's amazing to me that he touched so many people's hearts.
When he would wrap his arms around you, you would just feel like, you were, everything could just go away.
Family attorney Ben Crump hopes Floyd's death can lead to change.
That pandemic of racism and discrimination that killed George Floyd.
The service here at North Central University in downtown Minneapolis is just the first of several services honoring George Floyd's life and legacy.
Floyd's death has touched off massive demonstrations nationwide and around the world, and has been a rallying cry for police reform from coast to coast.
If nothing changes after this protest, if it just dies down and quiets down, another man is going to be killed just the same way.
As mourners gathered at the site where he died, 3 of the 4 officers charged in connection with Floyd's death appeared in court for the first time. Floyd's family says the officers' arrests are only the first step towards justice, and that they will continue to call for their convictions. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Now, following today's service, Floyd's body will be flown to North Carolina, where he was born, for a public viewing and a private family service Saturday. There will also be a large service Tuesday in Houston, where Floyd grew up. North Central University has now established a scholarship in Floyd's honor. A Fort Wayne city leader will host a discussion tonight on female leadership during difficult times. The discussion is part of Councilwoman Michelle Chambers' podcast, Spilling the Tea. Panelists include 5 area women ministry leaders. Chambers says the goal of the discussion is for the community to talk, engage, and activate on local and national issues. The discussion starts at 6:30. A link to watch is on WANE.com.
Now, your first weather from the live Doppler 15 Fury Weather Center.
A warm, humid afternoon across the area with these temperatures in the 80s. 81 degrees in Fort Wayne, 82 in Columbia City, Defiance sits at 83, Van Wert 84, and 82 in Decatur. We've been monitoring the potential for some scattered rain to develop, most of the area completely dry, but we have seen some signs of a rain shower or isolated thunderstorm in just a few select spots over the course of the past hour. Right now we're seeing one in between Albion and Cherubusco. As we continue through the evening here, some of us see that rain. Many of us stay dry all evening long. Our temperatures will fall out of the 80s and through the 70s through late evening. 83 at 6, at 8 o'clock, 78 by 10. We're down to 74. Now overnight, temperatures will fall into the mid-60s. Coming up in the 10-day forecast, tomorrow a hot, humid day around here. Then the weekend, much cooler and much less humid. I'll have all the details when I see you later on.
Nicholas, thanks. Coming up on First at 5.
Las Vegas takes a major step to reopen. I'm Danya Backus with a look at how places across the country are beginning to return to normal.
And taking over as Allen County Health Commissioner during a pandemic. We'll hear from the man picked for the job when your #1 News at 5 returns.
Local coverage you can count on continues with Tara Brantley and Dirk Rowley. You're watching WANE 15 News, First at 5.
For the first time since World War II, the Indiana State Fair will not take place. Fair officials made the announcement today and said that ultimately the difficult decision was part of the impact of COVID-19. The Indiana State Fair Board also announced a modified State Fair 4-H livestock show with additional activities that will be held on the state fairgrounds in August. Last year, nearly 900,000 people attended the Indiana State Fair. When racing returns to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next month, don't expect fans in the stands. NASCAR's Brickyard 400, scheduled for July 5th, will be run without fans in attendance. NASCAR has held several races without fans so far because of limitations on crowd sizes due to the coronavirus pandemic. Fans who bought tickets to those events will have the option for a credit to future IMS events or a refund. After 3 months as a virtual ghost town, the Las Vegas Strip reopened for business today. It's the latest big reopening amid the coronavirus pandemic. CBS's Danya Backus continues our coverage.
The majestic fountains at Las Vegas's Bellagio Casino came to life again for the first time in months, signaling America's gaming capital is back in business.
It's like the best feeling in the world, like back alive again, you know, it's great.
Casino crews welcomed visitors as the Bellagio's doors opened this morning.
It's good to be an American again and be open.
Crowds filled Fremont Street as some casinos resumed business at midnight.
Happy to be here, happy that you guys are opening up.
Visitors will notice major changes.
You'll see a lot of social distancing. Tables will be 6 feet apart. Menus will be paper menus or will be sanitized between each and every use.
Gamblers will see cleaning crews on casino floors 24/7, sanitizing machines, dice, and common areas. Some gaming tables have plexiglass to separate gamblers. And everyone will have their temperature taken and be encouraged to wear a mask before entering.
We got to take care of our tourists. We got to make sure that the people who come here are not going to get sick so they never come back again.
In another sign things are returning to normal. Here in California, restaurants have been reopening over the last few weeks, with some cities and counties allowing indoor dining. And starting today, people in much of New York State can dine at outdoor restaurants, but not in New York City.
Outdoor dining, there's no roof, there could be a canopy, but it is outdoor space.
So far, coronavirus has infected more than 1.8 million Americans. 107,000 have died. Now there's concern cases will spike across the country as thousands pour into the streets to protest the death of George Floyd.
I am seriously worried about what's going to happen, 10 days from now when we start to see those cases rise dramatically.
Dr. Agus says the more droplets go into the air, the more potential for spread. Danya Backus, CBS News, Thousand Oaks, California.
For the first time, we hear from the physician who will take over as Allen County Health Commissioner following Dr. Deb McMahon's retirement in about a week and a half. Today, Dr. Matthew Sutter praised her for the work she's done handling the COVID-19 crisis. Once he steps into the part-time role, he hopes to make a coronavirus plan by first listening to others. The pandemic is actually one of the things that drew him to the job.
Dr. McMahon has done a great job. She and Mindy have built a great team. But it's really a time of crisis, and it's a time where we're going to face some important decisions. I've been involved in leadership in a lot of ways in the Fort Wayne area, and I thought it was an important thing to do.
Beyond COVID-19, Dr. Sutter's other health concerns include the needle exchange program, influenza, obesity, and heart disease. He'll continue to work part-time as an emergency physician while serving as health commissioner. Pretty cloudy day today, a chance of rain tomorrow apparently. Nicholas has a look at the full 10-day forecast next.
Local coverage you can count on continues with Chief Meteorologist Nicholas Ferreri's live Doppler 15 Fury forecast.
Here on this Thursday afternoon, our muggy meter sits at humid, and we're still going to be humid around here tomorrow. In fact, we'll see an increase in heat then too, but by the time we get to the weekend, a new air mass moves in. Tomorrow, thanks to the passage of a cold front, we're going to see cooler, less humid air move in for the weekend, and it will stick around into the new week. So the muggy meter shows one more day at humid, and then we're uncomfortable for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Currently, our temperature in Fort Wayne is 81. It feels a couple degrees higher because of that humidity, feeling like 83, and the winds in the west at 10 miles per hour. So currently, our temperature sits at 83 in Defiance, 82 in Columbia City, 80 in Huntington, 82 in Decatur, and 84 in Van Wert. Here on Storm Tracker, you can see most of the area is rain-free, but we are picking up on some rain and perhaps an isolated thunderstorm. They're developing just to the north of Columbia City, around Tri-Lakes, traveling to the southeast. So it's going to travel in between this 33 and 30 corridor, perhaps into northwest Fort Wayne within the course of the next hour, should it hold together and not just fizzle apart. Those areas that see it, like Tri-Lakes, you get in on a good downpour and can't rule out a lightning strike or two. In the bigger picture, the heaviest rain of the day, it's off to the east of us. That's where it will stay tonight. But still, we could see some occasional scattered rain in different spots across northeast Indiana and northwest Ohio over the upcoming hours. We're talking between now and sunset. So this is 5 o'clock with some scattered rain in portions of the area, mainly to the northwest of Fort Wayne. Then we head over the upcoming hours. You can see how that rain chance starts to fizzle once 9 o'clock gets here. Still, though, some clouds remain as we get into late night and overnight. Temperatures will be falling. We'll end up in the mid-60s by the time we get to early morning. 65 the low in Fort Wayne, 64 in Bluffton. Areas to the north a little bit cooler, around 60 as the day gets going. Now during the day tomorrow, overall partly cloudy. Nice in the morning, no rain worries there. With a front coming through during the course of the afternoon and evening into our Saturday, we could see some scattered rain develop. This is a very slight chance. We're talking 20% shot. Some areas see a few raindrops and many areas miss out. Tomorrow's winds from the southwest between 5 and 10 miles per hour. You team that with the sunshine that we'll see, and it's going to be a hot day around here. 68 at 8 in the morning. At noon, up to 78. By 4 o'clock, we'll add 10 more degrees to 88. Now our high in Fort Wayne tomorrow, 89, 88 in Paulding, 87 in Decatur. Now areas to the north, a little bit more likely you'll stop in the low to mid 80s. 82 the high in Auburn, 84 in Kendallville, 83 in LaGrange. Now tomorrow evening, we'll see that rain chance decrease as we approach sunset. And then we head into our weekend, dry and very nice. Things are looking good for our Saturday and Sunday. A lot of sunshine, some cooler air, and remember those lower humidity values. Then we move ahead to the middle of next week. Right now, Cristobal, Tropical Depression Cristobal, is here in Mexico near Campeche. It's moving to the north, and in the upcoming days, it could come ashore anywhere from Texas to Mississippi. Then by the middle of next week, we're talking Tuesday and Wednesday, we could see some of its rain here. Take a look at the 10-day forecast. 89 are high tomorrow, Saturday 82, Sunday 76, Monday 82, some sunshine. Tuesday and Wednesday, there are those rain chances. Tuesday up to 92, Wednesday we drop to 77. That's your forecast. There's more news just ahead.
Thanks, Nicholas. Back in 1951, he did something no big leaguer has done since. We'll have his story for Throwback Thursday coming up at 6. But first, a local sporting event with hundreds of athletes from across the globe hear from Turnstone about the virtual Endeavor Games when your number one news at 5 returns.
Local coverage you can count on continues with Tara Brantley and Dirk Rowley. You're watching WANE 15 News, first at 5.
Fort Wayne's Turnstone Center for Children and Adults with Disabilities is co-hosting the Endeavor Games this week. However, the way the games are played is different this year. WANE 15's Joe Struce has the story.
Turnstone's annual Endeavor Games are back this year, but due to the pandemic, they've taken on a little bit of a different look. Today, I stopped by Turnstone just to see how the games will continue from a virtual perspective.
We're going to continue to keep the format, so we're going to have a virtual welcome party. We're going to have clinics, competitions, there's a team competition.
This year's virtual Endeavor Games feature team events where athletes with different abilities can compete remotely at home and submit photos and videos showing how they did with each event. The team events are supplemented by scheduled Zoom clinics, which are used to teach the athletes about the events by some of the top coaches for each sport.
Obviously, they're here to learn. They love the sports, so hopefully we can at least give them the tools they need to advance to the next stage, if that is what their dream is.
Kimple says that the virtual approach has drastically increased the game's participation this year.
We've been able to cover 43 of the U.S. states, 2 of the U.S. territories, and we have a total of 7 countries that are going to be represented. So it is now a global event, which is very exciting for the teams that have been working on this.
Fort Wayne athlete Maggie Peters has been participating in the Endeavor Games since they started at Turnstone. She says that while it's a bit different this year, she is excited to welcome so many people virtually to join in.
More people will actually be able to sort of compete in this event just because it's virtual and you can compete at home and then you can send your results. So I bet more people can learn and participate, which I think is awesome.
Turnstone is slowly reopening facilities that were closed due to the pandemic. They say that they hope to have everything back in full operation by the fall. If you would like to follow along with this year's Endeavor Games, you can check out the latest information on Turnstone's website or their social media. We'll have links to those pages in this story on WANE.com. Reporting from Turnstone, Joe Struce, WANE 15 News.
Praise for a local man after he went above and beyond to help some baby animals. Todd Laubin was on his way into work yesterday when he stopped by Jefferson Point to grab some candy for his coworkers. Well, that makes him a good guy there. Then, when he saw a duck in the road sitting motionless, he parked his car and heard ducklings crying inside a nearby storm drain. Laubin then asked a passenger to block some traffic. He went into the drain and plucked out 9 ducklings.
I just grabbed the grate and tried to lift it, and it came up real easy, so I put it off to the side and climbed in and saw that they were kind of running around on my shoes, so I just went down and picked them up and put them up on the street. And some other guy saw me doing it, so he put his flashers on, and once I climbed out, we kind of just helped them over the curb back to the mom and put the grate back on, and that was it. Went to work.
Laubin said he'd never jumped down a storm drain before, but as a nature lover, he really didn't give it a second thought. New at 5, Mad Ants basketball won't be coming back this season. The NBA G League has canceled the remainder of that season. This comes after being suspended since March 12th. The regular season was scheduled to finish on March 28th. So is it duck weather? Nicholas has a check of your forecast on the way.
All right, tonight down to 65, some scattered rain possible. Tomorrow, a slight chance up to 89. We'll see you at 6.